Oh, guys, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do about this. I've had a good run, man. I've had a very good run with this. Switching to Apple. Switching to Apple, man. What is going on, guys? This is obviously your boy Jordan here, back again with another video for the third and final time, potentially, maybe more, maybe not, maybe yes. Shout out to the boys over at Prosper. Shout out IO. Check out the link in the description, buy some of their merch. Again, not a sponsorship, not an affiliation, but support the culture, support the gang, all of that. Today's video, if you haven't already realized from that terribly recorded, unimaginative introduction, and of course the title of the video, I'm actually lying, technically speaking, because I'm not actually dead set on moving to Apple just yet, but I'm so close to switching to iOS. And I think me myself, as I've talked about in the past, I'm a very technical person. Like, I love technology, I love tech. I've got like a Huawei laptop instead of an Apple one, Microsoft headphones instead of Beats, PlayStation instead of PlayStation, because if you have Xbox, I don't even know like what you're even doing with your life. Of course, you know, Google Pixel 4 XL, iPhone SE 2020 version. Like, I love tech. You know, everything that I do. The one thing that I make a lot of finance videos on this channel, and I don't. You can probably imagine I'm pretty frugal. I don't really buy stuff. I don't really buy branded clothes other than stuff that my friends make because I want to support the culture. I don't really go out much or drink much. But the one thing that, you know, my guilty pleasure, I guess, the one thing that I do spend money on is technology. Like, I'm just being recorded by a camera, which, to be fair, I didn't buy, but but you know what I mean. Like, I love tech. I've got a Nintendo Switch. I bought a new TV. The point is that I'm a very technical person. I love tech. I love technology, and it's very hard for me to. Like, I've always been an Apple and Android fanboy. I've always been like a Microsoft fanboy. But as I get more and more invested into the community, as I learn more and more, as I, you know, start to invest into tech, and as my passion more like transitioning from a fanboy to like an enthusiast, so like someone who's passionate about tech, it's the lines between things are a bit more blurred now. Like, I have no reason to, obviously PlayStation is by far better than Xbox, but other than that, Microsoft laptops versus a Mac, like, it's hard to distinguish. Like, they're both sides are good at something, both of the bad at other things. Apple versus Android, Canon versus Sony for cameras. Like, I just love tech, and it's like, now that, as I said, now that I'm more enthusiastic, I'm looking at my phone a lot more, and I'm like, is this really what I want? So, whatever, we're going to talk about that in more depth, like, right now, but that's kind of like the context, so you guys can understand that I've been, and I put a lot of thought into this, and it's something that I'm still, as I said, I'm not dead set on moving yet, but I put a lot of thought into. So maybe you guys who are thinking about buying a new phone, or like, if you're starting uni and you want to, like, you're thinking, like, what laptop should I buy, blah blah blah, like, maybe this can shine some light into my thought process and why I'm thinking to potentially switch over to iOS. So why am I switching to iOS? The fundamental reason, well, to be fair, let me put that back another like 4 minutes in content world. But I want to explain, I guess, why this decision's been a bit like, why it's even the decision, because I talked about enthusiasm, blah blah blah, but fundamentally, like, Android has always been very different to Apple. Like, you have like the purists, kind of like the, you know, the walled garden people would refer to it as, and you have Android, like, where you can have widgets, it's more creative, you can kind of download things from outside the App Store, it's cheaper, it's more diverse spectrum of phones, and it's like, it's always made sense for me to go to the side that, as I said, has more diversity, more options, it's cheaper, you can create, you know, your own backgrounds and stuff like that. But as the years have gone by, you know, especially in the last, I think, 5 to 6 years, the disparities, like, both operating systems have become more similar than they are different, and most of them, you know, both of them kind of focus a lot more now, especially more now than ever, on software and services than the hardware itself. Like, I'm not going to flash pictures up because I can't bother to edit it later, but I'm sure you guys can imagine, like, Huawei, OnePlus, Samsung, Google, Apple, well, to be fair, not Apple yet, but every other, you know, all these Android phones are putting out screens with like a hole punch camera in it. Apple have the whole notch thing. Like, everyone had a weird era where it's like fingerprint, touch ID, now it's like face recognition. I think we're going back to touch ID now, back to fingerprint sensors. Screens are getting smaller. Like, phones fundamentally look very similar, and the specs don't really mean anything anymore. Back in the day, it's like, oh, I got a new processor, but at the end of the day, like, it's fast enough for me to use it, the battery's good enough for me to use it, it looks good enough, the touch, like, there's no differentiator anymore apart from, realistically, the price. But me myself now as a 22-year-old, like I'm paying things on finance. I've got a phone contract. I've got like a 2-year contract. So even the price isn't that big a deal because it's like most of the contracts are the same. 25 to 35 pound a month. You don't really get anything outside of that. Is it a proper like iPhone 11 Pro Max with like maximum data and all, like you only really pay the top end if you're getting the very max with the max data, the max storage, and the very very top end. Whereas like if you get, looking at iPhones now, you have like the 11, the 11 Pro, and the 11 Pro Max. If you just get the 11, you're basically paying again between like 25 and 35. It's only if you get the Pro Max with the max storage that you're really stretching the bank. But otherwise, it's kind of within the same range if you're doing a contract, at least in my experience, for the way I go about handling my expenses and stuff. So the point is that the two are very similar now, and the only real thing that separates them, which is the reason why I'm switching over or considering switching over to Apple, is the infamous, the notorious, the highly talked about ecosystem. So like, what is the Apple ecosystem? I mean, for me to explain that, I guess, what is an ecosystem in general? Like an ecosystem, fundamentally, it's just like a system of things that benefit from or like live from each other. So when you're talking about, Internet of Things, let's talk about like smart appliances in your house. You can have like a Google Home, like a smart TV, a smart lights, and everything will interact with each other. You can just say like the magic phrase to activate Google Assistant that I'm scared to trigger on my own. That will like turn the TV on for you, turn the lights on for you, adjust the thermostat or whatever. And you have all these things that can work in unison. That also, that system also transcends, I guess, physical hardware appliances and works very well. Like, I mean, to be fair, with Apple, like again, it's like the AirPods, the Apple Watch, the laptop, which I'm going to go into in a bit, in a moment anyway. But it's also the services. Like with Google, you have Google Maps, Gmail, Google Search, all these features. With Apple, you've got like Apple TV, Apple Games, iCloud, all these things that all work together that you can only really get access to. Well, to be fair, Android is a bit more diverse. Again, you don't need a Google phone to use Gmail, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like it's things that work together and operate in a unit, in a system. So the ecosystem, again, why is that substantial? Why is that significant? That's significant because in a world where all you need is a phone to kind of do what you got to do. As I said before, that I kind of touched on, like you're buying it for the product itself. You're thinking like, widgets are cool. I like home screens. I like always on displays. I'm literally looking at my phone trying to think like, why did I buy the Google Pixel 4? The camera, Google, the Pixel kind of separated itself from other phones in terms of the camera. You have hardware specs, obviously the camera counts as hardware, but like the screen size, how light or heavy it is, how it looks. When it comes to Android versus Apple in particular, you have access to different things. Of course, like widgets in terms of software. You have Gmail and stuff built in, whereas on your iPhone, you're kind of not necessarily stuck, not stuck with, but by default you have like Safari, Apple Music, all these other things instead of Spotify, and you need to make those necessary changes to bring the things in that you want after you get it. Whereas on Android, it's kind of a bit more flexible. You know what I mean? And back in the day, that was significant. Back in the day, it's like what? I need widgets. I need the calendar app on my home screen. So I'm just gonna get a Google phone because they allow me to do that. Or it's like, what? Google Assistant is way better than Siri, so I'm just gonna get a Google phone so I can do that. Or what? Android phones are way cheaper. They look nicer. Obviously that's subjective, but they look nicer. So that's why I'm gonna get that. And it gets to a point right now where like Apple basically has everything, all the advantages that you have from Android, you can also get on Apple now, and all the advantages that the iPhones had, you can kind of get on Android now. So they're very very similar. So the only real thing that separates the Android tribe from the Apple tribe fundamentally is like services and, as I mentioned, the ecosystem. Now, because the two are kind of intertwined, we're only really going to talk about the ecosystem, and I'm going to touch on services a little bit as well. But like when it comes to services, there's things like Apple TV, which Google haven't really got a competitor for. You have Stadia versus the Apple Arcade, but it doesn't really mean anything. But what makes it significant, I think, and what is making me think more and more about moving over to iOS, as I said, is the ecosystem, and that's because of basically like streamlining the process, making things easier. Right now, I'm currently paying for. I mean, I'm not gonna stop paying for Netflix because Apple TV just isn't quite there yet. But that's all the other things that Apple give you access to. You have iCloud, which you can use across, your laptop, your phone, your watch, whatever. You have Apple Music, which you can use across your phone, your laptop, your TV, your whatever. You have even though Apple TV again, it's not superior to Netflix. It offers a range of things as well. Like you can, instead of having a Chromecast to get a smart TV. To be fair, I've got a smart TV now anyway, but still, you can get smart features through Apple TV. And when it comes back to the ecosystem in general, those are the free services that I think are quite interesting. But when it comes to the actual ecosystem, you can get things like your Apple Watch that will track your fitness and your sleep and yada yada yada. You have your AirPods that just connect seamlessly to your phone. You can like listen to music easily, yada yada yada. Of course, to be fair, the main thing is a laptop. It's the MacBook Pro. The fact that you have a very fast laptop that you can use iMessages from, you connect your phone, like it's all connected. And Android, for as good as it is, for as much as I love my Pixel, for as much as I love using the Windows laptop, which technically isn't Android, but you catch my drift, like that. Streamlining everything. Like at the moment, I have to use, of course, Google Drive, which comes with Android and Gmail and stuff. But I'm using Spotify, I'm using Netflix. I'm having to plug my phone into my laptop when I need to get something off of it because Microsoft don't seamlessly connect to Android yet. So when it comes, I'm using WhatsApp to text some people my friends on Android, and then I'm using normal text to talk to my friends on Apple that refuse to get WhatsApp because iMessage is so great, or like Instagram, or what's the other one, like Snapchat or something. It's like being part of realistically, it's a global ecosystem where everyone is on the same thing, which is one thing. I can also port all of my own stuff onto one thing. So instead of having to use like Dropbox or Google Drive and OneDrive, all these different things, it's like I can just use iCloud, just use Apple Music instead of Spotify, and then this new Apple One subscription where I just pay like £15 a month and get all of it. The fitness stuff. I don't even need to buy. To be fair, Google recently acquired Fitbit, but it's like I now need to have Android phone, I need to have Spotify, I need to have Fitbit, which have all of these things have their own premium services I got to pay for on different days for different people for different things, and it's like fundamentally it comes up to I think way more. I mean, technically speaking, Apple One is a new thing. It's not like it's been around for ages, so it's not always been cheaper to go the Apple way. But right now, it is. Right now it is, and again you get to include AirPods to that, which seamlessly, very quick, very easy, and it's like the fundamental quality, like the actual quality in general. You can argue that maybe you prefer Samsung because it's a bigger battery, or Google Pixel because it's a better camera, or OnePlus because it's faster, charges faster. But you're almost looking at like USPs, or exceptional camera on a Pixel, exceptional battery on Samsung, exceptional chart quickness on OnePlus. But Apple's kind of like very, very good at everything. And to be fair, most of these phones are. But when you, for example, my Google Pixel 4, very, very good, exceptional camera, it's very good at everything, and it kind of drops off when it comes to battery. I feel like everything, in order to be exceptional at one thing, you kind of drop off to average or something else. With OnePlus, it's the camera, you're sacrificing that, you're compromising with the camera for speed. With Samsung, I think you're compromising basically everything just for like a curved display. I mean, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Samsung, you can probably tell. But I guess it's price maybe, because Samsung is way more expensive than your typical Android phone. When it comes to Huawei, you're sacrificing American companies, all American apps, all the social media basically, for whatever you want a Huawei for. Every company, every Android brand seems to have some sort of compromise, whereas Apple is like, there's no compromise. It's not exceptional. Okay, maybe video is exceptional, but other than that, it's just very, very good at everything. But you also get the ease of use, the ease of life, peace of mind, I guess, knowing that you can connect your Apple Watch instead of having a Fitbit and having to figure out, download another app and do these different things. You can get your AirPods, and without downloading another app, you can just do it all through your phone. Like, it seamlessly connects. You can just buy a MacBook Pro, and instead of buying another app, you see what I'm saying. And the ecosystem, for me, and my point in life where I am now, it's just cool to streamline things. Even my headphones, like it's Microsoft, Windows headphones, they connect to my laptop easily. And technically, all I have to do with my phone is download Bluetooth. But they're like, what, if you want to make the most out of these headphones, you should really download the Microsoft headphone app. And it's like, why do I need all these apps just to connect headphones to listen to me? I mean, technically, Apple Music, you have to install an iPhone as well. You don't get it. You can't, it doesn't, actually, you know what? I had to install it, but I feel like it comes naturally if you just like download it anyway. But it's like, it's just long having to get all these other apps, all these other services, pay all these other people, when you can just do it all in one. And it's like, you're not really compromising anything either. So that's it, I guess. That's kind of me. When it comes to the Mac, like, I guess the biggest thing that made me think about this was that I'm thinking about getting a new laptop. And all these Windows PCs are very, very good. And to be fair, as I said, you can get ones that are exceptional in certain areas. Like you can't really change the hard drive on a Mac laptop. The iOS web, not web platform, but the actual baseline software, like I think it's built on Linux to be fair, but it's not as, like a lot of my friends who do computer science say they prefer doing it on a Windows laptop because they have access to more things. But it's like, I don't even know if that barrier still really exists. Like a lot of programmers do use Macs, and other than that, other than the ability to like customize your chipsets and technical things like that, there's no obvious advantage anymore. Whereas when it comes to having a MacBook Pro, I can connect to my phone seamlessly, have this whole ecosystem, probably pay a bit less altogether when you consider everything. And another thing which I don't really care about, but it's interesting to consider, is that there are a lot of scientific studies and reports that say like having an iPhone makes you like 78% more attractive. It makes you like 85% more likely to pass a job interview if you have like displays of wealth, Apple Watch, all these things that for some reason, I mean, I get it. Like if you want to look, that's why people wear suits to interview, so you look, not wealthy per se, but you look smart. The whatever society deems smart to be. You look presentable. You look like you're displaying wealth. Even though I don't necessarily agree with all those things in society, it's like if you're telling me, if you go to this job with an Android phone, you're maybe a bit less likely to get the job. Whereas if you go with an Apple Watch, you're a bit more likely to get the job. It's like why? Like in any other context, it's like if you just do something else, you're increasing your chances. Of course, I'm going to try and increase my chances. And when you factor in all of those things together, the fact that you I don't know, you have more luck in life because of like social status. You can connect all your services to one thing instead of having to do like Spotify, Netflix, this, that, the other. You can seamlessly connect to all your other devices. Like you take a picture on your iPhone and it automatically appears on your laptop. Like having that ease of use, that peace of mind, that extra bonus points in life is fundamentally why I'm very, very close to joining the Apple ecosystem. The only thing that's stopping me really is that I don't want to get boxed in. Like I talked about at the beginning of the video, kind of going back to that. I love tech. Yeah, I love tech. And if I go into Apple, there's a very big chance that I'll be hard to come back out later because it's long to deactivate iMessage, to bring all my songs back to Spotify, to get a new Windows laptop. Like it's going to be long to get out. Getting in is quite easy, but getting out is quite hard. Like I don't know, I'll probably end up like buying an iPad or something. I don't even need it. I'll just have like an iPad because it's connected. But I don't know, man. I'm still thinking about it, of course you can tell. But you can see that I'm very, I thought this through, and it's very, joining the ecosystem at the moment, joining iOS is very compelling, especially again as a student, who can benefit substantially from having everything in one place, making one payment each month instead of making like 17, having all my stuff backed up across all my devices. I mean, technically you get that on Google Drive as well, but it's like everything will just be seamless. And I think the one thing that I would beg Google to do right, that would like make it a serious, like it will kind of defeat the whole point of this video, is if they made Chromebooks actually compelling. Like they're a very niche, niche product, because people bullied me last time for saying niche, but they're a very niche product for students or people that aren't on a budget, for people that need a specific thing from the device. Chromebooks are actually very, very good, but for me and what I use it for, they're not so good. So that's one thing. And also, like, even though I don't need an Apple Watch, I do really want a fitness band, and it's long to have, like I used to have a Fitbit, but having a Fitbit and a watch, it's like, it's just long. And there's currently no compelling, apart from maybe the Samsung one, but again, I don't really like Samsung, so there's not really a competitive Apple Watch product on the Google side. And those are the two products I think that if Google figured out, if they put out like a Pixel Fitbit watch, so I connect to my phone seamlessly, because Pixel Buds are out, and there's a lot of like Apple Bluetooth headphones anyway that I don't really care about, but it's like the laptop, man, or Windows, just make a Windows laptop that's compelling, because I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going around in circles right now, but that's essentially it. That's why I'm considering moving to iOS. If you want more depth on that, maybe I can explain in another video if it's necessary. But fundamentally, you can kind of see my point. Like the phones right now are very, very similar in terms of what they're capable of. And even though some things in Android are exceptional here, there's always a compromise. Like if you're gonna rate them out of 10, everything's like 9 out of 10 right now. And the only distinguishable trait is the services and the ecosystem, which right now Apple is dominating. Like Apple Watch is ridiculously good. If you're talking about, I want to buy a tablet, what you're saying is I want to buy an iPad, because there's nothing else in the game. And the same thing applies for the watch. the same thing kind of applies to AirPods. Like there are different competitors from like different brands. I think Sennheiser and stuff, like the bigger audio brands, but there's no like Android competitor. And the same thing applies. Well, Apple headphones aren't out yet, but the studio AirPods will be soon. And Chromebook compared to Mac, yes, apples and pears, man. It's apples and pears. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what Google will have to do. They introduced the Pixel 5 in that already. No band, no laptop. So again, it's looking like iOS for the win, man. We'll see how things go on Black Friday if I don't blow my entire budget on a PS5 and a 4K TV. But but yeah, that's it for me for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hopefully that was some way, some sort of insightful, valuable. And again, as I said, if you have any questions, let me know down below. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe, hit the notification bell because people say that, and you know, now I've got to start saying that as well because reasons. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.